it gets even worse for Donald Trump. As I previously reported, Donald Trump's net approval is the worst in presidential history. So how does it get worse? Well, he beats his own record. He gets more bad polls, the least popular ever. And there were 3 new polls that just dropped. One from Washington Post, one from Politico, and one from state regime media, which calls itself Fox. And on Fox, they said, don't know how else to really say this, but this is really, really bad for Republicans. And the data from Fox shows in a generic matchup for the midterms, Democrats are also surging ahead right now as Donald Trump gets us deeper and deeper into this catastrophic and unlawful war in Iran. Let's go through this polling data right now. Washington Post, the percentage of Americans who say it's worth fighting, only 28%. Not worth fighting, 68%. How about the share of MAGA voters who think the war is worth the economic cost? These are MAGA voters, hardcore MAGA voters. That fell from 50% in May to 37% in July in the latest polling. So the share of MAGA voters who think the war is worth the economic cost fell from 50% in May to 37% in July, while more now say the U.S. should only stay involved if costs don't rise further or end the war altogether. We're talking about some of Donald Trump's most hardcore supporters. Let's take a look at what they just said on state regime media, which calls itself Fox. Brit Hume, Brett Baer, they are panicking right now. Let's play this clip.
You look at our polls and you look at the condition of the economy, and this is the one for midterms we look at closely, and that is excellent or good, 24%, only fair or poor, 76%. And that has got to have Republicans, Senate and House, concerned.
Oh, absolutely, Brett. And the truth is there's not much good news for Republicans in this whole poll we did. You know, underwater on the economy, as you showed, underwater on affordability. Those 2 issues are front and center for sure. Republicans have a little bit of a lead on national security and, I guess, law enforcement. But everywhere you look, Republicans are down. Now, there is some bit of good news. As you mentioned, the redistricting will help them with seats in the House, and they will probably need every one of them they can get from that.
Now, while they're doing that, Donald Trump was posting photos of himself looking like the deranged lunatic piece of trash, human walking piece of trash that he is. Donald Trump posts, Trump orders CENTCOM to open the gates of hell after U.S. troop killed, launches strikes on Iran, to which the Houthis immediately responded by striking Saudi Arabian tankers. And then in the Strait of Hormuz, the Iranians responded by striking a tanker there and having others turn around. And as Decoding Fox News, hat tip to Decoding Fox News, want to give a hat tip to her, support her work. She's got a great Substack also at Decoding Fox News. The folks at Fox News are openly criticizing Trump's war in Iran. They explain at Decoding Fox News. They know he watches it all day long. So here's what they're saying. Let's take a look. Let's play it.
9 straight days. They're really hitting Kuwait hard, and they're hitting Bahrain, but Jordan is the biggest surprise.
Yes.
We got to get missile defense there. Yeah. Simple as that.
But I do expect that we're going to be there a long time. You know, Operation Northern Southern Watch went on for, almost 20 years, I think. So
one of the things that's really alarming right now is that those strikes on Jordan were pretty advanced weapons. Mm-hmm. And we certainly felt like a lot of the strikes previously had taken out a lot of their missile capabilities. So that is definitely alarming.
We have to do. Mark Warner is right. Bombing alone may not work. We do not, nor have we ever controlled the Straits of Hormuz.
Because, there aren't too many approaches. There aren't too many choices left available. Unfortunately, once you've started something like this, the way you finish it is with American ground troops. And, we're saddened and disgusted to hear about those newly minted Gold Star families. That is not what we want. But if we see a ground invasion, you're going to see a lot more than that. And you're going to have young people whose lives are destroyed. And, we're not going to be saying their names every day on TV. And it's not just politically costly. It's at some point it gets to be immoral.
The only other option is another deal. And the deal is probably, I hate to say this is not a political comment, but it may be worse than the deal Obama struck, because you're going to have to unfreeze all of that money if we don't want to put troops on the ground. Because guess who else knows we don't want to put troops on the ground? The Iranians.
Yeah.
So again, this is not what I want to have happen, but Mark Warner loves this country.
Coming up, the U.S. launching more strikes tonight in Iran. A live report from the region. Plus, what's this going to do to Republicans in the midterms? 3 members of our military were killed over the weekend. A tragedy. And with the midterm elections a little more than 100 days away, the clock is ticking for President Trump to get out of this war before voters head to the polls. It's making a lot of Republicans nervous. It's already, as we know, unpopular. According to the New Washington Post Ipsos poll, 69% of Americans disapprove of the handling of this conflict. Republicans cannot let this become an endless distraction, especially if they want to win in November.
It's funny what I decide to get picky about. The last time I got coffee, it took me about 5 reviews before I landed on my spot. But life insurance? Well, most of us took the first quote that we got and called it done. SelectQuote is a life insurance broker that does the homework for you. Their licensed agents shop over 100 policies and find you a better rate for free. With SelectQuote, getting life insurance is fast, free, and easy. The whole process takes about 15 minutes. Answer a few questions, their agents shop the carriers for you, and you get your quote tailored to your specific situation, even if you've got something like high blood pressure or diabetes. And you'll save an average of 30%. So let's do the math on that. If a policy costs $150 per month, 30% off is $45 a month back in your pocket. Over a 20-year term, that's more than $10,000. SelectQuote has been doing this for over 40 years. 11,000 reviews on Trustpilot, rated excellent. Listen, putting off life insurance could get really costly. Also, it messes with your peace of mind. Now that I know that my family is covered, I can sleep more peacefully at night. Get your free quote at selectquote.com/Meidas. That's selectquote.com/Meidas, selectquote.com/Meidas. They shop, you save.
Now, the analysis here by Daniel Davis Deep Dive, I think, is on point here. He says, shortly before Ansar Allah fire, that's the Houthis in Yemen, fired on 2 Saudi Arabian ships yesterday evening in the Red Sea, Trump posted on his Truth Social, "Open the gates of hell." It should be painfully evident to everyone, even Trump, that these threats and military actions will never compel Iran or the Yemen rebels to submit to his will. It will do the opposite. Now Trump is starting to face the reality that the application of firepower is not only failing to achieve positive results, it is making our situation worse, hardening the resolve of our adversaries and deepening the cost of our increasing strategic failure. Now, it ain't just the Strait of Hormuz that's closed, it's Bab el-Mandab. Things are going to get worse for the United States financially. Trump does not appear to be even close to the point where he realizes that more lethal power equals a worsening position for him. I think we can expect that he'll probably escalate even more in the coming days, making our position even more intractable and raising the cost on our country before possible reality will compel him to change course. Even his boy, Steve Bannon, even his buddy, Steve Bannon, went on his podcast, brought in someone from Politico, and watch what they said. This is Bannon. Let's play it.
Megan, this poll, walk us through it, because it's just not the absolute number in the poll. It's about the trend of the poll. This poll was taken, and a part of the highlight of this is President Trump's most ardent supporters, the MAGA base. And these numbers are pretty shocking. I mean, they would be pretty shocking to people that didn't listen to the War Room every day or weren't part of the cadre. Can you walk us through it?
Yeah, I think this comes as no surprise to anyone who is, part of the MAGA base and has been hearing these perpetual concerns about the war and having concerns themselves about the war and its costs. And what we really find here is that, as of May in our Politico poll, half of the MAGA base thought that the war was worth the economic cost. Obviously, folks very supportive of the president, inclined to trust him, receptive to the argument that this was about, stopping Iran from from having nuclear weapons. Now we see, as we are, now entering the fifth month of war here, that only a little more than a third of the MAGA base still believes that the war is worth the economic cost here. So that's a 13-point dip. And at the same time, 37% self-identified MAGA Trump voters say the U.S. should only continue being in the war if it doesn't increase costs. And 1 in 5 MAGA voters believe the U.S. should actually just end the war in Iran regardless of the cost, right? So some pretty shocking numbers here to folks who haven't been watching this, but to your point, not surprising to folks who have been having these concerns themselves.
So that's what Bannon said. What about Nancy Mace? What did Nancy Mace say? I mean, we're talking about ultra MAGA right here. Let's play this clip to show you what Nancy Mace had to say. Let's play it.
What are you hearing from your constituents about affordability?
Oh, people can't afford. I mean, they're getting taxed on everything. Groceries are up, electricity is up, their mortgages, the interest rates, rent is up in Mount Pleasant in my district. For a 3-bedroom apartment, it's going to cost you $5,000 a month. And nobody can afford that. It's crazy.
Trump had said that he was going to bring down electricity prices
by 50%. Hasn't happened yet, has it?
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, you take a look at that state regime media poll one more time. The generic poll by Fox shows Democrats taking a huge lead, 53% to 46%. This is the highest either party has hit in a Fox generic poll since 1996. Since 1996. So what is MAGA Republican Congress member Tom Emmer saying? He's one of the leaders of the MAGA Republicans in Congress. He said, look, the economy's now working for everyone. Things are looking great. And he said that when people feel bad, their feelings are wrong. And by September, the MAGA say, the people will realize their feelings are wrong and that their reality is actually an economic golden age. They feel incorrectly because everything's so amazing. That's what MAGA's going with. Let's play it.
Southern border. It's about an economy that is starting to work for everyone. You look at real wages are growing faster than inflation. You look at the lower rungs of the prosperity ladder in this country. They are actually catching up for the first time in years. Their spending is up about 6% right now. They are feeling better about the economy. And if their perception is they're in a better place than they were under Joe Biden and they see a bright future, guess what, guys? We're going to hold the House, we're going to hold the Senate, and we're going to finish out Trump's term in style.
And Congressman, I do have to point out, though, that there still are many Americans on both sides of the aisle who are feeling financial pressure, financial strain on various levels, whether it be because of the war in Iran or maybe inflation not going down as quickly as we had hoped. What is your message to them? Because we keep telling them to be patient, and they may feel that they just don't have patience left.
Well, Katrina, I guess I'm pushing back on that by telling you that while there are people, and there always will, that are going to be struggling, what they're saying compared to what is happening is not matching. And what you're going to see, I believe, is by early September, those two things, the perception of their economic reality and their literally the economic reality, are going to be intersecting. The economy, nobody's talking about 99-cent eggs. And you're correct, by the way, when you talk about, for instance, gas prices. Gas prices, because of the war in Iran, have been definitely impacted, and people see that on a daily basis. But I would argue to you that with the president of peace, what he tried to do with Iran, and he told everybody that once he got to that point, you were going to see gas prices come tumbling down, Katrina. We, in fact, saw that until the Iranians balked on the deal. I would say the IRGC balked on the deal.
Also, inflation came down shortly after that did.
That's right.
Yes.
Yep.
Congressman Tom Emmer, sir, we got to leave it there.
Then you have MAGA Republican Congress member Carlos Jimenez from Florida saying, sure, this war may be unpopular, but so was World War II before it started. Just like World War II, this may become popular soon. You want us to be involved in World War Oh, wait, we're kind of are involved in World War III. You take a look at Russia's invasion of Ukraine every day there. You've got these dark mushroom cloud looking things over the facilities that are being destroyed both in Russia now and in Kyiv. That's going there. The Middle East has been lit on fire. Africa, there's wars everywhere. Venezuela, threatening war on Cuba. Anyway, here's what Carlos Jimenez says. Let's play it.
President Trump this morning said that Americans, quote, aren't against the war, end quote, despite a lot of polling to the contrary. In a recent Washington Post Ipsos survey, 68% of Americans said the war was not worth fighting, while 28% said it was. How do you explain the disconnect between what the president says and how Americans feel, according to almost all of these most recent polls?
Well, I'm not going to speak for the president. That I think that I'm not going to dispute the polls either. But I also know that, prior to World War II, 85% of Americans were not in favor of entering that war. And then it all changed in one day. I think the president and frankly us, we have to explain why it is that we are hitting Iran, that we want to make sure Iran never gets a nuclear weapon. Iran has been saying for 47 years, death to America, death to Israel. When somebody's been talking like that for 47 years, I tend to, listen and think that they're serious about it. So this war is really not about us. This war is really about protecting our children and our grandchildren. And I'm willing to make that investment. And so while many Americans may think that we shouldn't be doing this, I believe we should, because I want to protect my children and my grandchildren in the future from a nuclear-armed Iran.
But Donald Trump says, we don't need the Hormuz Street. We don't need them streets in Hormuz. Let's play this clip.
We don't need anything. We don't need the Hormuz Street, but we do it because we have to do it, because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple.
And then just for the hell of it, I'll just show you what Lauren Boebert had to say about that she believes that the moon landing was done in Amazon warehouses. Let's play it.
Here's what I got, a real important question from you from the fellows at MeidasTouch. They want to know where you're at on the moon landing, which the anniversary of it was yesterday.
I don't know. I think it was done in an Amazon warehouse. Oh, they didn't have those then. Different warehouse.
So you're not convinced that we landed on the moon? No?
I'm not convinced of half the things the government tells us. Have a great day.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
There you have it, everybody. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers and check out WTF. Pre-order it right now. It's the book I did with my brothers. Check it out. I think somewhere there's the QR code. Hit the QR code. If you do the pre-order now, it really helps. And then if you did pre-order, put in the comment WTF. Say WTF ban if you did the pre-order. Thanks for watching.
Breaking news right now, my brothers and I wrote a book. It's called WTF America. And well, doesn't that just say it all? It comes out officially this October, but you can pre-order your copy today. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description below.